Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our week 2 Q&A session where we get to integrate a lot of what we've been doing. And before I ask you for your questions, I just want to share with you I suppose the reason behind wanting you to eat this way that we've been learning about for the last 10 days. And it's I mean, aside from the fact that it's nutrient dense food, it's food that supports digestive health, it's food that develops children, gives them the best chance in life for their brains and their bones to develop. There's something else about it that I've noticed since eating, even just more butter and fermented foods and taking some effort to do the cooking, and it takes time and it takes effort. And look, I don't do it the majority of the time. Some of those recipes in the cookbook are, very fancy, but there's something about the nourishment aspect of it. There's nutrition and there's nourishment, and there's something beautiful about feeling nourished from the inside, and the difference that's made for me with regard to just a certain confidence and a trust. Like, I'm just not worried about this virus at the moment. I'm just totally calm about it. And I can't say that's due to food. There's meditation and everything else that goes on with it. But, something that is solid and based in history and science and tradition really floats my boat. So if there's anything weird about it, like bone broths and livers and fermented foods and soaked grains and soaked nuts, all that kind of stuff, it might be a little bit weird, but to me, it's the answer to pretty much all the health problems that are out there in the world. So thank you for participating. Thank you for being here tonight. And I'm going to open it up now to start the conversation just on anything that you want clarified or, confused about, or suggestions, or anything related to the theory and the practice. Who would like to go first? I've got you thinking. I thought you'd come with your list of questions, guys. So
I've just unmuted myself.
Perfect.
Just a question about bread, because when we did the no bread, felt not bloated, really good, but was hungry all the time and craved it. What's a good, I guess, how many times a week should one eat bread, I guess, is probably where I'm coming from. And I had the bills stuff as well. So, but just felt very different when I didn't have it.
Yeah, well, the others might want to comment on this as well, but I have to say, Tanya, I felt very similar, and I was kind of walking around, because I said no grain as well as no bread. So I was walking around, and I wasn't quite as organized as I normally am because of this week has been dramatic with, with everything going on. And so, I would normally have oats for breakfast if I don't have bread. I might have corn, or I have a potato dish, or I get my starchy carbs in other forms. Sweet potatoes. We eat quite a few sweet potatoes. I might make sweet potato chips. And so I think us ladies, and it's not just my opinion, that the research that's done on the paleo diet has been largely done on men. And when the women do it, they find that the strict no starchy carb thing really doesn't work so well for women, that they become very moody, upsets their cycle, and they, turn into bitches basically. And so there's this understanding that some starchy carbs are really important for women in our cycle and our moods, especially moods, because it's a part of that production of serotonin, which makes us feel happy. And so to answer your question about how often, yeah, it's something I think we've got to find the answer to that ourselves. I prefer not to have any, and then I just not a plan to have any, but then I just have it spontaneously when I decide to have eggs in the morning. Now I had eggs on those 2 days with coleslaw and avocado, and that was okay. That filled me up. The avocado, I think. So my strategy with my clients who are addicted to carbs and sugar is to increase their fat. So that's, have the avocados, have nut butters, have the sweet potatoes, and obviously not all on the one day, but it's a matter of moving away from the carb kind of craving into other things. And I do think it takes time. Did that answer it?
I was the same.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the same. Like the 2 days without it, I know you said don't weigh yourself, but I did. And on those 2 days, it was the only time I'd lost any weight. And then today I've had bread and stuff again, or yesterday, when it was up, I had bread and stuff, and then back to what I was. But the same thing, no bloating, felt really light and a lot better. And then as soon as I get back on the flour or the wheat and stuff, even the Bill's bread, which I got as well, same. So I reckon I'm just going to have to not only give that up permanently, but anything else that I bake as well. And being, the world's largest baker, not largest, biggest baker. Yeah, that's hard. But I get all the stuff about the nourishment because I've been doing that a while as well. And but I only tend to do it at the weekends and then, live on it for the rest of the week. And they say reheating stuff in the microwave isn't ideal, but hey, you can only, otherwise I'd waste too much food, and that's the perils of living on your own. But I think I'm going to have to give up the bread and anything wheat based pretty permanently.
Yeah, well, I have to say I've come to the same conclusion. And if it's in the freezer, it kind of gets eaten. So, and it's like
I don't even buy it.
I've had a lot of fun experimenting with non-wheat flours. I'm not a big fan of just the plain gluten-free flour because I understand it's very, very refined. But looking for things with almond meal or coconut flour. I don't know if any of you guys have experimented with baking, to have something sweet that isn't wheat, whether you've had any success with that.
I've got them all. I've got coconut flour and buckwheat flour and spelt flour and all of those, and I use them at sometimes, but I've not actually, I'll use half and half or part and part, but I haven't noticed any, or I probably haven't done it for a while, so I haven't noticed any fab difference. But I could do that, start experimenting a bit like that.
The less you eat, the less you want. So that carbohydrates are like that. So it takes a little bit of willpower at the beginning, and then what I found is I kind of go for a while and I'm not having hardly any and I feel really good. And then for some reason I'll get into them again, and then I remind myself, no, I can't do this. And so it's like, it's a bit of a roller coaster. I just don't have the discipline to never ever have it, because we love bread. I love toast and eggs and just love it. So trying to have it without guilt and just enjoy it is, even the bloating afterwards is is the key.
But that's the same with sugar and the same with alcohol, the same with anything like that. If you don't, once you cut it out and you get over that withdrawal symptoms, it's easier.
Exactly. So any other questions regarding the challenges or even the decluttering? I don't know if anyone had a look at that 5-day wardrobe declutter. That was a collaboration between me and Kirsty to bring you something a little bit outside the box. And if you haven't had a look at it yet, I encourage you to do that at some time. And how did you guys go with actually making some of the things that were in the recipes in the email or in the challenges? What worked and what didn't work? Larissa, do you want to have a comment, and we'll go to Tanya?
Yep. I just had a really full-on weekend, so I haven't had a chance. I have been following I've been following the challenges, but I haven't done the recipes. I did have a couple of questions though, if that's okay. With the oats in the morning, I remember you saying it was better for me to have more like eggs and stuff like that for breakfast rather than oats. And I know when I had like my allergy test, like oats came up as something that doesn't agree with me. Should I still do that? Like, would it, because it's different, because obviously it's sitting overnight, is it important for me to still do that one?
Not really. No, it was just an example of the concept of soaking grains before you consume them. And if you follow the recipe book for the Western Price, so that's the Nourishing Traditions recipe book, then if you make a cake, you soak the grain first. If you make biscuits, you soak the grain. If you cook rice, you soak rice you put it on, you put it on to soak in the morning and you boil at night. Same with nuts. Nuts are always soaked overnight or most of the day. And the reason for that is that they are known to be difficult digesters. And so some of the allergic reactions that occur to grains is potentially more related to the fact that they've got the indigestible components still in them, which activating them or soaking them would neutralize. And that is the case. Whether that's enough for somebody like you who's sensitive, you'd have to experiment. And it's certainly just another breakfast idea. And for people who complain about not being able to have breakfast because they don't have time, it's a strategy that's very easy for people, because you can literally you could probably make up 5 days worth if you really had to. And you put the berries in it and the nuts and your, whatever, and you can use you could use water, you could use coconut water, you could use nut milks, you could use dairy milks to soak. And so it's a concept that has a lot of flexibility. You could also do it with cooked rice. You could do it with other grains. You could do it with...
Yep, I've done it in the past. I just got really lazy. So, would bread, so I've been having shepherd's bread and I've had no issues with it. I'm like you though, I don't have it very often, like just sort of every so often, and I don't have any heartburn. would that be because it's fermented, or you not fermented, whatever it is, like they leave it for a while because it's sourdough and that sort of thing?
I think it's also white, isn't it? White bread.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that one is white. Yeah,
That one's
but I
white.
don't have a lot of it. Like,
Yeah. There's multiple things in bread that you can react to. You can react to the yeast. You could react to that article that I asked you to read, tells you all the reasons why grains can be difficult. And it's the Roundup. It's so, it's what you do 80 to 90% of the time that matters, not, if you have it once a week or twice a week or special occasions, or, I would say with bread, maximum once every 3 days. That's max.
okay. Yeah.
And then you get your fix for starchy carbs by varying it with all of the others: potatoes, sweet potatoes, parsnips, rice, etc., etc. Yeah.
So last question. So I had quinoa like a couple of weekends ago, and it really bloated me. Would that be like the same kind of thing? Like I just should go back and see. Like I'm thinking, oh, quinoa, it's really nice and healthy, like what's going on with it? Do you know what I mean? Like, but obviously there's something in it but I suppose it's any of those things that you were mentioning.
Yeah, you could try soaking it, put it on underwater.
I was at an event, so it was just,
Right.
yeah, so I thought, oh, this is healthy.
Yeah. Try cooking your own. You could cook it in broth.
Mm-hmm.
And soak it. Some people, it's really easy to sprout. If you like it and you love it and you want to avoid the wheat, you can sprout quinoa. It grows within a day or so. It's got little baby sprouts on it. And then you can do whatever you like with it because it's been transformed with the sprouting. You can cook it, or you can have it raw. You can have it like tabbouleh. You can have it like rice. You can have it like, in rice salads, that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanya, did you have a question?
Probably more just a statement. The 2.5 litres of water, life-changing. Thank you. Absolutely life-changing. So it's I think just that discipline, and I've put it onto like a few other people, just going how particularly for hot flushes and stuff, how significant a change I've had.
Wow. With the hot flushes?
Yeah, gone. Like
Yeah.
I pee all the time, but it's gone. So.
Yeah, it's so simple, but if you, congratulations, well done.
so, yeah, I know, for something that I just think it should be I don't know, I think it just should be something that comes with with the book of it. Like, this is, if you do this, it will just be, you wake up at 3 to pee rather than because you're, feeling uncomfortable. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm on the menopause chat groups on Facebook, and the symptoms that people suffer with is beyond anything you can imagine. So the suffering is incredible. And I just feel like saying, just start with the basics. I wish they could all become my clients. I want them to be my clients so I can help them. But I'm very pleased for you, Tanya. Thank you very much for that feedback. It's good to know.
And just one more question, one last question. What does apple cider vinegar do to you? Because I've been having that every day as well, but I don't know why.
Well, apple cider vinegar is a fermented food. So if you get you can get the one that's filtered, that's got nothing in it, that's very clear. That's not what I'm talking about. The one with the mother that's cloudy and got bits in it, that's fermented food. So it really aids digestive health. I remember the very first time I made up my lemon, apple cider vinegar, honey, water drink. It just cleaned me out. My guts just, in a nice way. It wasn't diarrhea or anything. It was just like this fabulous bowel motion. And it's because a couple of things. There's friendly bacteria in there. Whether they pass through the stomach or not, I don't know. But it seems to have a great impact on the bowel bacteria. And then the second thing is it's acidic, as is lemon juice, as acetic acid is vinegar. And it's acidic in the gut, so it aids digestion from that perspective because the stomach is acidic. It's way more acidic than apple cider vinegar, but maybe it's just a little bit that just enhances that, so you digest your proteins better. Everything seems upper gut works better. But also, once it's absorbed through the digestive system into the body, it's alkalizing. And alkalizing means reduced inflammation, reduced acidity, and a lot of people take it for arthritis for that reason. So inflammation is one of the common complaints in our culture, and it's also the beginning of all disease. So I don't know, and the taste kind of grows on you. I love it. I've got my honey lemon apple cider vinegar water drink that I have with dinner often. I just love it. Yeah. So you just got to be careful of your teeth. You don't want to sip on it all day or have a lot of it and then not brush your teeth, or it does seem to damage the teeth. So, if you have it with a meal or before a meal, or you brush your teeth after you have it, then you'll be fine.
Thanks. It's reminded me I haven't made that for ages, and so I'm going to go and make it right after this and have it every day.
It's very refreshing in the heat.
Yeah, and well, these temperature changes. Actually, I saw a documentary about menopause. I saw a documentary years ago, but American journalists were interviewing traditional, like Mexican women, and asking them about menopause and hot flushes, and they didn't get any. They had no hot flushes, and then by the end of the interview, they were all wondering, should I be getting hot flushes? Am I missing out on something? Because the American journalists would. That's the only. But don't you get hot flushes? That was the only question they were asking. So they obviously drink enough water, perhaps.
Whole different kettle of fish. Those traditional cultures, they've got it very different than us Westerners. All right. So you would have, while we've been on here, you would have got your latest email. And so have fun with that. I'll give you I'll spoiler alert, I suppose. It's about salt and spices, and I'm focused mainly on salt, and encourage you to have salt, but to have the Celtic sea salt, which is my favorite, and then to make a recipe that's salty. So I've given you one idea, two ideas in fact, but and it's probably going to be the weekend. Larissa, others, the guys watching on the recording, it's probably going to be the weekend before you get to some of these recipes. So please take a photo and post them and give me an update on how you're going, because we finish up pretty much on Sunday, and then I will schedule with each of you your exit session, your exit follow-up call, which will be 15 minutes with each of you at a time convenient to you. And I'm going to ask you, and I'm giving you a bit of a warning about this now, I'm going to ask you for feedback on the logistics of it, how it went, what worked and what didn't work, that kind of thing, separate to your 15 minutes, because that's obviously my time, whereas the the exit interview is really your time to work out what's next for you. And yeah, so we've gone through all the theory, and it's really trying out things over the weekend, doing your prep. I know that it's a pain in the neck, and finding time for a couple of hours of prep and planning on the weekends can be new for some people, but honestly, I don't know any other way to do it. I that's what works for me. It could be a Saturday, it could be a Sunday, depending on what's going on. But I just can't get around that. Starts with the recipes, then the shopping, then the cooking, and that can set me up for the rest of the week. It works really well, but it is a commitment and it is work. So yeah. So any final questions, comments? Fiona, you want to?
I have one question. When you said about in the nourishing traditions soaking any nuts or grains or something before cooking, what about like flour? You don't soak flour before you said making a cake. You don't soak flour before you make a cake, do you?
Yeah, it's not soaked in water.
Oh, okay.
It's soaked in either yogurt, whey, or kefir, or some kind of ferment. And so I make my yogurt in the Easy Yo thing that I mentioned to you guys.
I've got one.
And you can when you get yogurt, it sort of starts to separate a little bit. Well, that liquid is whey, so you can collect that if you are dead keen on having bread. Larissa, this might be for you. I don't know if this is something that would inspire you, but or you can actually, anyway, you can buy whey as well. But that's the suggestion for, say you want something made with spelt. Now, spelt is a gluten flour. It's an ancient form of wheat. And if yeah.
Oh, well, I'll look it up or something.
But yes, that website that I referred you to quite often, that has the various recipes in it, or come along to our event, which may not happen in May now. We've got Holly Davis, who's a whole food chef, and she founded Iku, which is one of those lunch bar things. She's coming along to teach us about whole foods, and we can address that as well. But the books, the books are amazing. I know you've got enough cookbooks, Fiona, so I don't want to suggest you get any more, but maybe I'll post one of those recipes. I made a banana cake with fermented flour that it sat overnight in yogurt. It was amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's just going.
One more cookbook won't matter. It's a good one.
Yeah. All right. Well,
okay, thank you.
We're out of time. Any Larissa, final comment? Well, thank you, ladies. Tanya, final.
Thank you.
All right.
Just thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, bye.
Tell everyone. I'm going to do it again. Maybe sooner than I expected. I'm going to go online like everyone else, right?
Uh-huh.
Thanks, ladies.
See you.
Enjoy your evening.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye.